God, come and learn about Him. Here's the Bible with Pastor Adam.
Ah, yes. Oh, hey guys, you're back again. Welcome back. I know you're thinking, wow, he looks cozy. Yep, I like to get cozy when I do my reading. Welcome back, guys. We are in Genesis still. Last week you might remember that we read about the Tower of Babel and what happened when the people tried to reach God and do things on their own. He mixed them all up and gave them all different languages and confused them. We're still in Genesis this week, but this week we're going to be talking about a really important person in the Bible. A person named Abraham, or Abram, as you might hear him called. So this week we're going to be reading from Genesis 12 through 14. Abraham made his home in a land called Haran, and he was a simple man. He lived in a tent and tended sheep and cattle. Abraham lived in a tent instead of a house because back then they didn't really have houses like we know them today. Many people kind of lived like this so that they could move their herds of animals from place to place easily without having to worry about, what am I going to do with a house? But Abraham was a man who believed in God. Very important that you guys remember that. And God blessed Abraham. God came to Abraham and said, "Leave your country and go to the land I will show you. I will make your name great, and all people on the earth will be blessed through you." So God is speaking to Abraham. So Abraham did as God said and left his homeland. And he took his wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, and all of the people in their households. They went from place to place with all their animals and belongings. Abraham covered kind of a lot of distance, a lot of miles, traveling from his homeland in Haran to Bethel in the land of Canaan. It took a long time, and it was about 500 miles that he traveled. And you have to remember, back then, they didn't have cars or planes or trains or buses or jets or rockets. Nothing cool like we have today. What they did have, their feet, donkeys, maybe horses. So it took a long time to travel the distance that Abraham traveled. But he traveled to Canaan, and then he went south to Egypt, and then back to Bethel and Canaan again. So he did a lot of traveling when God told him to leave. Finally, he came to a rich land, but it was not big enough for all the people and the animals that he had with him. And so Abraham said to his nephew Lot, "Let's part ways. If you go left, I'll go right. But if you go right, I'll go left." So Lot chose to go east to the richer lands near a big, big city. And Abraham went west to the land of Canaan. And here God spoke to him again, and he said, "Abraham, lift your eyes and look north and south and east and west. All this land I will one day give to you and your people. Your children and all who come after will number as many as the stars in the sky." So Abraham moved his tents and went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron. And that was a city high up in the hills of where he was, in Judea, about 20 miles southwest, from a big, big city called Jerusalem. So, what happened? God spoke to Abraham, a man who was very faithful. That means he believed in God and was convinced about who God was, and that God was a good God that would take care of people that obeyed him. And he traveled a big, big distance to a land that God wanted him to travel. And then he had a choice. Go this way or go that way. Whatever his nephew picked, he would pick the opposite. And so his nephew picked the richer land. Kind of reminds me about something. Tell me if you guys can relate to this. You know when your mom or dad gives you a snack, maybe you have a brother or sister or a friend, and you both get a snack or maybe a drink poured for you, and you notice that one has a little bit more and that one has a little bit less. Abraham chose to take the one that had a little bit less. So he gave his nephew the better portion. Because of this, God blessed him for his faithfulness and generosity. So I want you guys to think about that. I know when I was a kid, I always wanted the one with more. But Abraham was a good man and a faithful man, and God blessed him for his faithfulness many times and in many different ways. So next time you get that treat or that drink or that snack, think about how you could be more like Abraham, giving up the better portion and taking less. It's a good lesson to learn. Next week, we're going to be learning more about Abraham. But thanks for joining this week, guys. See you next time.